Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. A real gangsta-ass MAGA play his cards right. A real gangsta-ass MAGA never let up on the gas, cause real gangsta-ass MAGA don't mind fights. And riggers always gotta get clapped.
So there was Arnaud Bertrand, I know I'm not... Arnaud Bertrand, he tweeted out this video, truly extraordinary, powerful interview of Dominique de Villepin, former Prime Minister of France. Here he talks about Gaza. He also talks about Ukraine. So you can turn it down. You can turn it down. So he says, today we no longer have a voice on the international scene. He's talking about France. Today we no longer have a voice on the international scene. What do we have? We have Ukraine, which is accelerating and worsening. We have Gaza, which is undoubtedly the biggest historical scandal of, I don't even dare to find a reference, and of which nobody talks about in this country anymore. There's silence. It is taboo. The media don't talk about it anymore. I have to Google to find a press release that gives me news of the number of deaths that occur in Gaza. It is a real scandal in terms of democracy, and all this is in the name of what? In the name of war? Oh, it's war, it's war, it's like that. Okay, but it's not. It's not exactly a war like the others in Gaza, since it is civilian populations that die. So we are in an absurdity. We are in an absurdity, and France is fading away. It is France that's footing the bill, and I can't accept that. And then the interviewer says, we will come to that. The war has resulted in tens of thousands of deaths in Gaza. The Hamas Ministry of Health speaks of more than 40,000 deaths. The enclave is stuck in a humanitarian and health disaster. There is not only I heard that all the time. There's not only the Ministry of Health from Hamas, which says that there are 40,000 dead. There are probably many more. So from this basis, let's not give the feeling that it would be a number like that, unreliable. No, it's an unfortunate everyday reality. In Gaza, bodies torn to pieces, hearts are in pieces, souls are in pieces, heads are in pieces. And the idea of rebuilding and all this when there is no prospect, one must see that Israel is in the process of creating the conditions of a reoccupation of Gaza, whether it's the southern line, whether it's the line that cuts in the middle. Gaza. Israel has regained possession of Gaza. The creation of a perimeter around Gaza is completely besieged. And thus, at a time when the West Bank itself is decomposing, we see it in the northern West Bank and in the southern West Bank. We are in front of a real time bomb. And then the interviewer says, well, what to do? What to do? What should France do according to you? What should the EU do? Or the United States? Since calls for a ceasefire, we've been seeing it for weeks. It doesn't work. What to do? He says, well, we have levers in terms of armament. We have levers. We have economic levers. We continue to accept to trade with a number of territories where colonization by Israel is active. But we refuse to use those levers with arguments which are absolutely unreal, culturally and intellectually speaking. You turn it up a little so you can hear how. That's good.
Un certain nombre de territoires où la colonisation israélienne est active, mais nous refusons de le faire sous des arguments qui sont absolument inouïs sur le plan culturel et intellectuel. Il faut laisser
We must leave Israel, fight its war until the end. But to what end? Yoav Gallant, the Israel Minister of Defense, says that Hamas has been eradicated in Gaza. What is the end? And it's the same problem in Ukraine as in Gaza. We have no political objective. Israel has no political objective. And when you have no political objective, the only thing you can do is war. In Ukraine, we did not give the means to Ukraine to achieve objectives, and we do not really know these objectives. That's why today everyone starts talking about peace again, and we are unfortunately excluded from these discussions. We have seen that the U.S. Secretary of State with the British Foreign Secretary, where's the French minister? Where's France? It's not there. In the same way in Gaza. There is no political objective on the part of Israel. There is a security objective. There is an identity objective. There is a messianic madness. And that explains the catastrophe that we are given to see. The world is watching all this, and the world draws the conclusions. And this is why we French, we Europeans, we Westerners, we are today pointed out as double standard peddlers. This can only be solved only by international law and only by the return of justice. We will have to pay cash in terms of effort and legitimacy, our right to talk again and provide advice again in international matters. We will need to make amends. That's a big statement. And here's what he says, I can't stress it enough, how rare it is to hear a former French prime minister speak like this. He says that France no longer has a voice on the international scene because, among other things, of its double standards and lack of action with regards to Gaza. He calls France's internal silencing of what's happening in Gaza a real scandal in terms of democracy, making France live in absurdity and resulting in it fading away. He says that we, France and the West in general, would have many levers to stop the war in terms of armament or economic sanctions, but we refuse to use the levers with arguments which are absolutely unreal, culturally or intellectually speaking, saying we need to let Israel fight its war to the end, but what end? As a consequence, he says that France and the West will foot the bill for what's happening in terms of a loss of credibility and legitimacy. On Gaza specifically, he calls it undoubtedly the biggest historical scandal since, I don't even dare find a reference, calling it a war not like the others since it's the civilian populations that die. He also rebukes the journalists for using the usual term, according to the Hamas-run Ministry of Health, with regards to the numbers of death. There's not only the Ministry of Health from Hamas, which says that these are 40,000 dead, and there are probably many, many, many more. So from this basis, let's not give the feeling that it would be a number like that. Unreliable, no. Probably the most powerful quote of this interview literally gave me shivers. In Gaza, bodies are torn into pieces. Hearts are in pieces. Souls are in pieces. Heads are in pieces. He says that Israel has no political objective, and when you have no political objective, the only thing you can do is war. There is a security objective. There is an identity objective. There is a messianic madness, and that explains the catastrophe that we are witnessing. So it is good to hear a former French prime minister speak like that. Like I really just don't get Zionists. I get that you hate Palestinians and that people like Bill Maher have a hatred of Arabs and Muslims in general. They think they're lesser because of their ideology. Well, who has a higher body count? The Christians and Jews of the United States or the Muslims? It would be the Christians and Jews. Did the Muslims do Libya? Did the Muslims do Iraq? Did the Muslims do Syria? You know what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying here? That these are CIA operations. So, and everybody's holy book is full of crazy shit. Is the Quran full of crazy shit? Yes. You know what else is? The Bible. You ever read it? I'm a good Catholic, so we don't read the Bible. I was brought up Catholic anyway. It's full of all kinds of crazy, devious sexual shit. Give your daughter to be raped. All kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, okay. Over to stuff.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Here we go. Lisa Smith, thank you very much. Lisa. Port Film Co-op, thank you very much. Port Film Co-op. Man on the Road, grazie. Port Film Co-op again. Please bring on Keith Woods and Dissident. Right, guys. Thank you, Port Film Co-op. B-Man, more than 700 security experts signed a letter endorsing Marmalade Also, politicians are autographing bombs for Zelensky in Pennsylvania. B-man. Kevin DeBella. Thank you, Kevin DeBella. I emailed the show a DOD memo about the ramp up to the draft. Might be good to cover. A tabletop exercise is in the works to induct 300,000 plus. Louise Brooks. Thank you for that info, Louise. You think there isn't enough focus on Zionism/end times prophecy? The whole reason they're going insane right now is because they want the big guy to come back. It was never about the hostages. Edgar. International Party of Antarctica, maybe. Thank you very much. Much appreciated for your generosity. Polly. Lebanon was a Christian country that opened its borders in 1960. Muslims flooded over the border, began a civil war, and overthrew Christian country. Derek, Israel would let a rocket slip through just to play victim. It's what they do best, and anyone who trusts Israel should seek USS Liberty and Numek affair. Derek, thank you for those super chats, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the Rumble rants. I suspect Musk's interests were seriously threatened by Washington and deep state. My suspicion is that he got one of those national security demand letters, where you go to jail if you make it public. P.W. Walker. A PSU Bond, thank you very much for your generosity. Much appreciated. Okay, let's see here. The American flag is a symbol of being free to burn the American flag. Jack, that makes too much sense, Jack. Too much sense. Join us Saturday, September 28th for our Hope for Chanda fundraiser from noon to 4 p.m. PT on Beauty and the Boomer and Trail Park Pundit. F Cancer, I be cat. Bunny Ripley, thank you very much, Bunny Ripley. Much appreciated for your generosity. Are you serious? Thank you. Are you serious? Much appreciated. Andrew Bassell, thank you, Andrew Bassell. Ibotheus, thank you, Ibotheus. Kate Cott was, the problem with Elon is he's more driven by the bottom line than any principles of values. Anti-establishment billionaire is an oxymoron. Sick off society, stand up for caps. Thank you. For anything. Ibotheus, what was Kamala's foreign policy? Bonzo Beans, hi, right back at you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. Are the oppressive horde of artificial flashing red satellites not literally signs in the heavens? Are you guys wearing pants?
I'm wearing short pants.
Jimmy's wearing a short pant. Misha, she's wearing a longish pant. I am wearing pants, but my shoes are crotchless. Think about that.
Any sense.
Jimmy, it does.
Why would you wear shoes on your crotch?
No, they're crotchless shoes, Jimmy. Hart, I haven't seen the full Casey Means segment on Rumble. Can it be uploaded? I wanted to share it with my mom, a retired ER doc. She can listen to your health stuff, but mainly does Facebook, MSNBC on YouTube. IKR?
Well, you know what? If you become a
Go to Jimmy.
If you become a premium member for the low price of $10 a month, you get access to all of our shows uncut. So the Callie Means interview went up, but it was cut up into like 5 different videos. But if you want it all together, go to jimmydore.com, become a premium member, and you'll be able to watch it uncut. You can send it to your mother. How about that? Hey, look at this.
Yeah, she says she wants a real man. One who opens up the door, holds your hand, and still smiles when he feels bad.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running the system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.